In the heart of southern Africa, along the glittering shores of the Indian Ocean, stands Maputo, a city of contrasts and resilience, once known as Lourenço Marques. This coastal capital has seen empires rise and fall, revolutions ignite, and generations dream of freedom. It is a place where colonial legacies meet African pride, where the rhythms of history echo through every street and harbor. This is the story of how a colonial port transformed into the modern, vibrant capital of Mozambique. The journey of Maputo is one of struggle, rebirth, and determination. In the early 16th century, Portuguese explorers sailed along the East African coast in search of trade and territory. They found in the natural bay of Delago a perfect harbor, a deep water shelter surrounded by fertile lands and rich wildlife. By the mid-16th century, the Portuguese established a small trading post here, named after Lourenço Marques, a navigator who had mapped the bay. It began as a humble settlement, where traders exchanged ivory, gold, and slaves with local chiefs for textiles, beads, and weapons. Through the centuries, the region remained a contested zone. Arab traders, Swahili merchants, and African kingdoms all competed for influence. But by the 19th century, the Portuguese tightened their control. They built forts, warehouses, and administrative offices, and the settlement of Lourenço Marques slowly evolved into a colonial outpost. In 1877, it officially became the capital of Portuguese East Africa, replacing Ilha de Mozambique. The port grew busier as railways connected it to the interior, especially to Transvaal in neighboring South Africa. The discovery of gold and other minerals in southern Africa brought waves of European businessmen and colonial officials. The city began to modernize. Cobblestone streets, colonial villas, and grand government buildings appeared along the waterfront. The city became a symbol of European ambition in Africa, a miniature Lisbon with tropical charm, yet beneath the facade of progress, African laborers worked under harsh conditions, building an empire that did not belong to them. As the 20th century dawned, Lourenço Marques became one of the most prosperous colonial cities in Africa. Its harbor buzzed with ships carrying coffee, cashew nuts, sugar, and cotton to Europe. Elegant trams glided down palm-lined avenues. Cafes served Portuguese pastries, and jazz music floated from the nightclubs. The elite enjoyed a European lifestyle untouched by the struggles of the African majority. For the African population, life was defined by segregation and control. Most lived in the outskirts, known as canicos, makeshift neighborhoods built from wood and tin. Far from the paved streets of the colonial center, Africans were denied citizenship, forced into low-wage labor, and subjected to strict pass laws. They built the roads, laid the railways, and cleaned the homes of the colonizers, yet had little access to education or health care. During World War II, the city became even more strategic. Its port served as a vital link between Europe and the colonies in Asia. After the war, the world began to change. Winds of independence swept across Africa, but in Mozambique, the Portuguese clung to power. Lourenço Marques became both a jewel of colonial pride and a center of growing tension between the rulers and the ruled. By the 1960s, nationalist movements emerged across the country. The Liberation Front of Mozambique, known as Frelimo, was formed in 1962. Though the war for independence raged mostly in the northern provinces, the spirit of resistance reached the streets of Lourenço Marques. Whispers of freedom began to echo even within the walls of the colonial capital. The revolution came swiftly in 1974. After the Carnation Revolution in Portugal ended decades of dictatorship, the colonial empire began to crumble. Mozambique gained independence on June 25, 1975, and the city of Lourenço Marques was reborn under a new name, Maputo. The name, inspired by the Maputo River, symbolized the birth of a new identity, a break from the chains of the past. The joy of independence was immense. Celebrations filled the streets, music, drums, and laughter echoed through the neighborhoods, yet the challenges were enormous. Most Portuguese settlers fled, taking with them capital, equipment, and expertise, leaving behind empty buildings and a fragile economy. The new government, led by Frelimo, faced the daunting task of building a nation from the ashes of colonialism. Maputo became the beating heart of this new Mozambique, a city of revolution, education, and hope. The socialist government nationalized industries, established schools and health centers, and encouraged unity among all citizens. But the dreams of peace were soon threatened by regional instability and foreign interference as the Cold War gripped Africa. Mozambique found itself drawn into another conflict. By 1977, the Mozambican Civil War erupted between the government led by Frelimo and the rebel group Renamo, supported by foreign powers, and apartheid South Africa. Maputo, though far from the front lines, felt the impact of war deeply. Food shortages, economic collapse, and insecurity shaped everyday life. Electricity blackouts and rationing became common scenes, yet the people of Maputo endured with unbreakable spirit. Despite the hardships, art and culture flourished. The city's poets, musicians, and painters used their work to express resistance and hope. Theaters like Avenida became centers of political and cultural expression. In the midst of darkness, Maputo remained a place of creativity and courage. Women took leading roles in rebuilding communities. The people continued to believe in a brighter future. After 15 years of conflict, the Rome General Peace Accords were signed in 1992, ending the war. The years that followed marked a slow but determined recovery. Maputo once again became a symbol of national unity and rebirth. Reconstruction began. New roads, schools, and hospitals emerged. Life returned to the city's markets and beaches. The scent of roasted maize and the sound of marabenta music filled the air. Today, Maputo stands as a city of contrasts. Glass towers rise beside colonial-era buildings. Modern highways stretch along the Indian Ocean while fishermen still cast their nets at dawn. The city has become a hub for trade, culture, and tourism. It hosts international conferences, art festivals, and growing industries. The people of Maputo continue to carry the legacy of resilience and pride. From the Independence Monument to the bustling Mercado Central, the city's pulse reflects its history. The blending of African, Portuguese, and Arab influences has created a unique identity that defines the Mozambican spirit. Modern challenges remain: poverty, inequality, and climate change threaten the city's progress, yet innovation and community strength keep driving it forward. Young entrepreneurs, artists, and scholars are shaping the future of Maputo, turning it into a symbol of modern African success. As the sun sets over the bay, the city glows with a golden light reflecting centuries of struggle and triumph, from the colonial dreams of Lourenço Marques to the vibrant heart of today. Mozambique. The story of Maputo is not just a tale of a city, it is the story of a nation's soul.